All right, good evening. How's everyone feeling tonight? All right, good. We got some energy in the room. My name is Jessica Warrenly. I've been partnering with the mayor on throwing these town hall meetings almost monthly ever since she took office. So we've been doing this for a few years now. We're getting better and better at it. This year we're trying to revamp these town halls, like a town hall 2.0. So if you have suggestions or feedback about town halls, we have some cards for you to fill out on your way out. So we'd love to hear that. What topics do you want to hear? What are some suggestions you have to make these town halls better? So tonight we have a full agenda. Right before we get started, first can we applaud for our host pastor and our host church? They are so great. We did not request refreshments or anything. They did that on their own. They said, oh, we want to bring some snacks and stuff. So they love hosting at this church. They are very hospitable. So on your way out, definitely grab a treat. Before we get started, just a couple ground rules that we like to remind everyone of. Remember to respect whoever is speaking. So we always wait to make sure that the person is done talking before we speak. We keep our comments short because we try to get as many comments as possible. We want to hear from as many people as we can. And also respect the time. So we told the church that we get done at 8 o'clock. So we finish up our program, we take a couple minutes to mingle, but I'm always the timekeeper, so if you see me like this, that means we got to start wrapping up so we get out of here by 8. With those in mind, before I introduce the mayor, I just want to say tonight is a big part of, she's going to introduce her Youth Advisory Council, which was a big part of her vision, is creating platforms for young people to lead. So tonight's a really exciting night for us, and after we do that, then we'll have some announcements from City Hall and from our city manager. So let's welcome our mayor.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for that introduction. I'm excited to be here. How many of you are really excited to be here tonight? Super excited to be here. And before I get started, I have to thank the pastor, Pastor Mosby, First Lady Mosby. Thank you so much. First time I came here, the hospitality was just so wonderful, and it's extended to this time as well. And so I'm very appreciative for you being so humble and so, just wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's give them another round of applause for hosting. This is a special time, a night for us tonight. We have our young people, but this could not have been done without the help, without the organization, without the construction of one individual, and her name is Miss Kenya Leonard. Kenya, would you please stand? Thank you so much for all that you do to serve. I am super excited and grateful. Also, I'm grateful for my staff that's here tonight. East St. Louis staff members, would you please stand so everyone can see you? Some of which you will be hearing from tonight. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Is that all right? Yeah. All right, so this is a historic moment for the city of East St. Louis. Today, we will install the first Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. The Mayor's Youth Advisory Council consists of sophomores and juniors who attend East St. Louis Senior High School. Let's give it up for East St. Louis Senior High School, where I graduated from in 1992. Woo woo! Okay, and also SIUE, East St. Louis Charter School. Let's give a round of applause for that as well. So I work in the building where the charter school is, right? So I get to see you guys sometimes. Each of them completed the required application process and was selected to serve the city of East St. Louis. The mission of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council is to engage the youth of the city of East St. Louis with their community and local government. How many know that's very important?
adults that have offered their support in helping with the MYAC, especially with some of our special projects, because of course, you know, I can't do this all alone. And we have, well, I know she's not here, but Nzinga Medley, she's actually organizing the people to come in to speak about this history of City of East St. Louis. And we have Mr. Troy Anthony Swanson. He is going to help with or lead us with the Positive Photography Initiative, and he's here. I know that Ms. Tawanda Story is not here tonight, but she's going to help us with our service projects for the young people. And we also have Ms. Stephanie Miles with Smiles TV. She's going to help direct the young people for the YouTube channel show. And Mr. Marascus Scott, I keep mispronouncing his name. He's going to lead us. Oh, he's here. There he is. He's going to help us and lead us with our website and social media projects that we have going. And of course, we want to thank our mayor for having this vision for the young people. And I also want to, Miss Phillips is here. She's gonna lead us with our Junior Toastmasters group so we're very excited about that, Miss Tina Phillips. So I want to thank you for your time, and please remember to encourage our young people. They take the mantles that we pass on and run with them. And I just wanted to leave you with this scripture, Isaiah 55:12. You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into song before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. I'm looking forward to working and serving with you, and the world is waiting on each of you. Thank you.
All right, we got some young people taking leadership in our city. That is exciting, right? Yes. Okay, so at City Hall, they've been pretty busy. They've been working. And so next, we're gonna just kind of give an overview of what's been going on throughout the city and what we've got planned for 2018. So with that said, I'm gonna invite our city manager, Ms. Daphne Moore.
Good evening, everyone. It has been a pleasure to serve you all for the last 5.5 months. We have been very busy. One of the things that I was tasked with when I first got in is to try to get our budget done and passed. Through that process, we were able to save almost $2 million through negotiating new contracts and also taking about a little over $1 million off the budget. While we still have some ways to go, $2 million is a lot of money to be saved. And the goal this year is to really look at services that either can be reduced as far as in-house. I'm looking at our infrastructure in-house to see what do we really need. Or are there some contracts that we can eliminate and then do in-house? Or is there software that can help us streamline processes? Because my goal is to make it easier for people to do business in the city of East St. Louis and also to offer more services to the residents. So if there is a complaint, there's some type of process in place where we can receive the complaint and try to at least identify and address it. Systems are not perfect, but my goal is processes to make sure we are trying to meet as many needs as possible. We're working to continue to clean up the city. We recently demolished 25th and St. Clair, got the owner to demolish that property that should have been taken down in 2011. So my goal was that, when people see our entryways and the city has put money into a project, that you honor the commitment, that we honored our commitment. You didn't honor your commitment by tearing that building down, so I made sure that that building would get down, and it was completely torn down last month. And it makes a total difference at that corner of 25th and St. Clair Avenue. I've heard a lot of compliments like, oh, it looks, we can drive through and you don't see a vacant building. So we're gonna continue to try to tear down properties. We were able to do the fires that took place on 26th Street in Louisiana. We were able to get those properties torn down. So we're going to continue to work toward holding people accountable. We're trying to bring on some code enforcers to actually enforce property owners with fixing their properties, tearing down property, boarding up their properties properly, and dealing with some of the overgrown grass, weeds, trees that have just sat there and just really made our community look bad. So my goal is to really focus on continuing to clean up our city and to hopefully bring in some more economic development. One of the other things that has happened recently, the Illinois Department of Labor had several citations. I'm gonna bring Jason up for this part. Our Chief Blackman, our fire chief. We've been addressing some of our OSHA violations, and our ISO rating has changed. And I'll let him talk about that because it's gonna be, it's a really good thing for our residents that our ISO rating.
Good evening. My name is Jason Blackman. I'm the fire chief of the East St. Louis Fire Department. I became the chief in 2010, and the prior administration in 2010, I guess they received a letter I knew nothing about, but the city of East St. Louis ISO rating was going to go up to a 10. That was going to shoot your insurance rates through the roof. So in 2013, we worked and we got it to a 6. Last week, through the work with the city and every the help that we've got from the city and the city council, we've down to a 4. The lower your number, the better your insurance rate. So now, if you have any questions about your insurance, you can come to the fire office, you can check the city manager, we can get you a letter that you can send off to your insurance company to tell you that your fire rating is now down to a 4 in the city of East St. Louis. So with some continued work, we're trying to get that number on the way. Also in 2017, we were hit with a lot of OSHA violations, and the city has worked hard and the TIF department worked hard to clear up these violations. It's been a long process, but I can say as of tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, these last violations should be complete. I need to go pick up some at the dealership and we should be complete with the last violation. So our OSHA violations should be complete. So those are the things that we're working with the city of East St. Louis. Thank you. Well, the ISO rating, like I say, it's a different components that it's your fire department, it's your 911 center, and it's your Illinois American Water. We don't have any control over the Illinois American Water. That goes to the Illinois American Water. You pay your bill, they keep up our fire hydrants and things of that nature. One of the things that also helped us was when our 911 center went to St. Clair, we had more advanced technology that was able to help make our 911 system more efficient and better. So with the combination of 911, the water company, and the work we did in the fire department, that's how we were able to get our rating down to the ISO.
And our goal is to actually make sure that this will be on our new website. I'm actually working to have our new website launch on March 5th. Hopefully there will be no more technical difficulties and we'll be able to have that website up so you can access it without actually coming downtown. And then there will be a full report, I think it's about 28 pages, where it'll tell you everything that was done and some of the things we still need to do. So the goal is to continue to improve our rating, which going from a 10 to a 6 to a 4, we're working to make improvements to one, you know, money is tight already, so anything that we can do to help our citizens reduce the insurance rate, we're going to do. And again, infrastructure is going to be one of our #1 things that we're working on. So I am working to put pressure on owners who have just pretty much neglected the city and just don't want to take care of their properties. Not because they can't afford to, they just don't. And this is a new day, this is a new time in the city, and we're gonna hold people accountable for making sure that our city looks clean. And we really are working with a lot of federal partners now. We hope to have some announcements, hopefully in April, about some things that we're doing. And again, we are, every day, we're working to eliminate problems. And it's not an easy process, we didn't get here overnight, but just know that we have some great opportunities to get things done, and we actually have the federal government actually working with us, which is a great thing. We're trying to meet with the banks next month My goal is to try to get a revolving loan fund for businesses in the city of East St. Louis. So our first step is talking to the banks and seeing if they will invest in East St. Louis. We have the National Development Corporation, which is a consultant who will oversee that. They're one of the largest tax credit receivers. They receive $50 million in new market tax credits. So we're hoping to start to use the partnerships that we have and work with the federal government to see if we can get more done and get money infused in the East St. Louis. Because we're not just competing on a regional level or a state level or even on the United States, that we're competing in a global economy now. So the goal is for us to be as competitive as possible, but also make sure that people know that we're open for business and that we're seeking out opportunities and not just hoping someone comes and does business with us. So I'm gonna turn it over to the mayor to talk about Ameren.
Before I start on Ameren, I just want to kind of piggyback off of what the city manager talked about as far as what we're doing. We have, for the past 2.5, 3, now going on 3 years, worked very hard and intentionally on the foundation, okay? When you are rebuilding a city, when you're rebuilding or building anything, you start with the foundation, all right? And so for us, we've had to start with the foundation because there were some things that needed to be fixed, you know, and there were some things that couldn't be fixed, Pastor. We just had to tear the foundation up, right? And pour another one, right? So that kind of work right there is, it's not one that's, you know, foundations aren't pretty, but they're very necessary when you're building a house. A house without a foundation won't stand, will it? So we had to start with the foundation, and right now we're doing a very good job of pouring a nice foundation. What is the foundation? The foundation is the internal workings of City Hall, right? That's the foundation. The foundation is the relationships between the government and our citizens, between our city and other governments on the federal, state, local, public, and private level, right? That's the foundation. So we spend a lot of time working on the foundation. These are necessary things. And what we're doing in this government is we're going back to the basics, right? One of the things that I've stressed with the staff is that we have to clean up our community, and we are doing that. If you pay attention, and you know, you have to pay attention. But it's happening. There's a lot of cleaning up going on. We are going to get our code enforcers, but we're working on holding and making sure these landowners are held responsible for the property that they buy up in East St. Louis and that they leave for us to take care of. So we're working on that, and we're doing some things to really clean up. City manager did mention the audits, but we're finishing up our 2015 audits. When I came in, you know, we were 3 years behind. We are now catching up. We'll be starting on our 2016 audit soon, which is very important. Why is that important? So in order for us to receive federal dollars, we need to make sure that our audits are up to date, right? And not only do we want our audits to be up to date, but we eventually want them to be clean audits. Okay, so we're working on that. That is a work in process. But then let me go ahead and talk about Ameren. So Ameren opened its doors in December of 2017, right there on Broadway. We're very excited about Ameren coming back to the city of East St. Louis. They could have gone anywhere. As a matter of fact, other surrounding cities, we're trying to get them to come to their city, Pastor. But they decided to come back to East St. Louis. They have invested more than $10 million in their facility. It is a wonderful facility, and we are just very, very excited about them reinvesting in the city of East St. Louis and being here. They brought those jobs over here, and we're very, very excited about working with them and them being a local partner. So we're excited about that. In addition to that, we are, this year, I've given the staff a thrust. The thrust is to reinvest, that's the word, reinvest in the city of East St. Louis. How do we want to do that? We want to reinvest in our own citizens. We want to reinvest in the businesses who have been here for years, that have been faithful and true. There's something to small business owners, right? We have a lot of small business owners here, and in order for a community like this to grow and to thrive, you invest in what you already have. We have a lot of resources here internally. We just got to learn how to be good stewards of what we already have. So what we're doing is we're working on being good stewards of what we already have, right? And then we're going to move abroad. But right now we're looking at our own businesses. We're very excited about a project that we're going to do this year that relates to the businesses that we already have. I won't talk about it now, but soon we'll be talking about it. But we're just excited about the movement and the growth. We know what we have done, and you know, we're just happy to share. So with that being said, I'll be back up to answer questions and talk to you a little bit more. And who's coming up next? Is that Ms. Gert? Okay, Ms. Gert is coming up. Ms. Gerthel Clemens. I call her Ms. Gert. I apologize, but her name is Ms. Clemens. Gerthel Clemens. She is the Director of Public Works. And of course, she's on the hot seat quite a bit because Public Works deals with our streets, our sewers, and things of that nature. So you know that's a hot topic, you know, especially with, you know, the conditions of some of the roads and streets that we have. And so, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Clemens, and I'll stand by your side, Ms. Clemens.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you. I am so grateful to be here tonight. Truly, I'm excited. I don't know which project you were talking about, but the one that we're planning to do with the AmeriCorps in about a month and a half. We are excited again this year. We're going to have AmeriCorps with us for 3 weeks. And these people work. They work really hard. Now, one of the projects they did, before I tell you about what we're going to do this year, the project they worked on last year was the Gumpers home. We went around and cleaned the Gumpers home, but our focal point was the basketball court at the Gumpers home. If you haven't seen it, we put up a beautiful basketball court. We resurfaced the structure, put up new goals, new everything there. When that basketball court was completed, nearly completed, they were putting up the goals and the basketball, the children came out from that area. You should have seen the people on that court. Young kids, big kids. I mean, we hadn't even swept up the glass or the debris off there. I told them, I said, just a moment. Let's clean up first. But they were so excited about that basketball court. Gave them something to do. They had not had one up in years, they said. But it is really beautiful. You go by there and see what they did last year. And the year before that, this is the Restoration of Hope initiative set up by the mayor. We decided to clean up the Welcome to East St. Louis signs and to maintain it. We had to restore the electrical system there because, you know, someone came along and just took it away, took everything out, and then we had to do a new sign there. But the key to anything you do is maintaining it. And that's what happens. We are truly maintaining it. Anytime you go by there, it's been done for almost 2 years now. This will be the 2nd year. Anytime you go by there, it's maintained, well maintained. Makes you look well. When I passed by there at night and the lights were lit up, I feel so good about that sign, welcome to East St. Louis. So I'm grateful to say that we are part of an initiative that the mayor has started. It's restoring the city. And she has a passion about that. When you have a passion about your city and your people, you will do anything. You will work harder to get that done. And that's where I am. I'm here to serve. I tell anybody, I'm here to serve. I'm serving as the Public Works Director. You know, I am in a servant capacity, on a divine assignment. If you don't know now, it's a divine assignment. So I want to tell you this year, we're gonna be doing the youth fountain right there between 4th and Broadway, and is that Union Bank? Is it Bank? Union? Is it Union Bank? First Bank, not Union anymore. But we are gonna restore that fountain. We're in the planning stage now. Look for what happened to that place in April. We have 3 weeks, and we are going to restore that fountain, and you're gonna be proud of that. When you drive, people coming from St. Louis, they're gonna be proud of that. It's gonna look good. So that is our main focal point. We're also gonna be cleaning up other areas around the City Hall. We have a radius that we'll be cleaning up and working on, but they will be working for 3 weeks. Not only are they gonna be working, I understand we got other volunteers gonna help us out that week. So we're here to move the city, to change the environment, to make it look beautiful wherever we can. We need your help. You can come out and volunteer also. We love that. We would truly love that. So I believe that's all I have. Mayor, you want to say something? Okay.
I wanted to say with the basketball court that Ms. Gerg was talking about, when we restored the basketball court, this was done through partnership with one of our corporate citizens. So the funding did not come from the city. So these projects that we do under the Restoration of Hope, we encourage volunteers from our community, be it a citizen, be it a corporate citizen, and anyone in the surrounding areas. This is one of the initiatives that we are using to come together to encourage each other, to empower each other, and to do something that we can visibly see. See by beholding what we become change. Seeing is really believing in this community. And a lot of times, we want to see big things, but as we continue to do the little things and they aggregate, then the picture will become bigger. So we're just excited about what we're doing.
The other thing that I wanted to mention as well is we have a new partnership with Harris-Stowe State University, and we have 13 interns with the city of East St. Louis currently that are working, and there are 3 here. I think they have been greeting you all at the registration table, and hopefully by April we'll have a few WashU students. Our goal is to try to get as much help from the universities to help us improve processes, do research. We're hoping to get 2 full-time graduate students to work with us throughout the week. Washington University also wants to do some classes over in East St. Louis. So we're really starting to build stronger partnerships within our community. And the goal is to have every university, or almost every university in this region, work with us in some type of partnership to help us advance rebuilding our community. And WashU comes with a lot of opportunities to do other things, and they have donors. They have $1 billion endowment. So I'm hoping that through those relationships that maybe they want to do a business incubator over here. St. Louis University has done some in North St. Louis. So I'm thinking big and hoping that, again, we continue to rebuild our community. But who would have thought that Harris-Stowe, WashU were even interested in coming over to our side with so much going on?
If you even nominate yourself, let me know, because we want to make sure that the people, like everyday citizens, are honored, because we really believe in our city and we believe in the love that we have for our community. Amen? All right. So if you are interested, please email me. You can email me at my name is Darius Chapman. You can email me at dchapman@cesl.us. That's dchapman@cesl.us. Or you can call the mayor's office, and I will be right there to answer the phone and return your call. Okay. Second thing is that we have other town hall meetings, and so I'm going to turn that back over to Jessica so she can explain that. Oh, with the Restoration of Hope, if you are interested in volunteering for that program, please call the mayor's office. We are compiling a list right now. Right now, we do have the Boy Scouts that already signed on. We have Harrisville State University signed on. We have the 100 Black Men signing on. We have Ameren, not UE anymore. My dad used to work for Ameren when I was a kid, so it used to be Union Electric back in the day, so it's Ameren now, right? So that shows how long I've been in East St. Louis, right? So we have Ameren signing on for volunteers. So we are trying to have a big day of service, and we're trying to poll the people to see what Saturday would be the best for that to happen during the time and spaces when we're doing those Restoration of Hope projects. So it's going to be a big day of service on that Saturday, and we'll let you guys know that through our social media and also through all the networks of interest that we get our communication out to you. Jessica.
All right, and if you are interested in volunteering for that, there's a separate sign-in sheet out on the table. So on your way out, we can get your information and get connected with you. So we've talked a lot at you, so now we want to open it up for questions. So if anyone has questions about anything that was a part of the presentation, or just in general, you have City Hall here to address those as best they can.
Good evening to everyone. I know most of the people here, most of y'all know me too. I'm a retired policeman. I'm 85 years old, so I'm doing good. I have a question. On 29th in Louisiana, on the corner, there's a vacant building. The roof is starting to fall in on it. It's been there for 10 years. We've been trying to get it removed. Now, at nighttime, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, on weekend, we have gunshots down there. People are afraid to call. And I don't know what they're going to do about that building on the corner of 29th and Louisiana. And the second one is the 400 block of 30th Street. Used to be a residential street. Now it's turned into a garage repair street. The people got cars jacked up on the street. They're dumping motor oil down the sewer line there, and you can't get through there at night. It's very, very bad there. And special thanks to Brother Anthony there for saving about 25 homes last year when they graded the Red Hill down. They directed all the water into our yards over there. So Brother Anthony did an excellent job. Special thanks to you. And the third thing is, I used to come to council meeting. I stopped coming because you get the agenda, they always say, item 6A. We don't know what 6A is. We're not there. Would it be better if they put a little footnote what that's pertaining to so people coming in know what they're talking about? Because I stopped coming, I didn't know what 6A or 5B or whatever they was talking about. Never could figure it out. So I stopped coming. That's my...
So there's a couple questions there. Did you want to?
Yeah, the Second Street you mentioned. Second. 400 block of 30th Street.
There are a couple questions. Chief, do you want to speak to the safety piece of that?
I think he was talking about the building on the corner. I think Ms. Clemens and city manager's office are already working on getting that building taken down. There has been shots fired out there. We have officers assigned to that district now, just to that district. And they're in that 25th to 30th Street area. There have been a lot of complaints, and they're assigned just to that district.
Thank you.
I spoke to Ms. Phillips in the TIP department regarding the building at 29th and Louisiana. We are working on trying to resolve that issue there. So hopefully we will have some resolve to that soon.
Okay, and we'll be sure to get your name and number so we can follow up with you personally.
Okay. And as far as the council meeting is concerned, what we do now is when we go through the agenda and we read the agenda, if we say 6A, we will read what 6A is, so you can know what it is. So that's what we're doing in the meetings, okay? So come back.
Well, good evening. My name is Roderick Fisher, and I've been coming to the city council's meetings for about 2 years, and I'm still trying to figure out how does the citizens actually get a copy of the minutes as well as the ordinance in which the city council as well as the department vote on? Because like Mr. Clemens, I've been coming, I'm still trying to figure out where that legislation comes from and the yays and the nays as well as that. Also, I'm part of the Resurrection Park committee. And for those who don't know where Resurrection Park is, that's the community. We have built 20 new homes in the last 20 years, and that is bounded by Summit Avenue, Summit Avenue on the south, Pennsylvania Avenue on the north, and bounded by 7th and 8th Street. And our main concern is we are homeowners, taxpayers, and we want to know, I know that somewhere in the budget, at some of the council meetings some years ago, they talked about paving that street, and we would love to know that. And I'm gonna move on. My next thing is, we do pay our sewer bills, and it goes to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Where does one find out where those dollars and that revenue is? And is there any groundwork of those funds being utilized? And that's basically my last concern, okay?
Okay, so I want to go back to the first one. I think you talked about was it the agenda?
Yes.
The legislation.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the legislation, citizens can have access to the legislation after it is passed. You cannot have access to the legislation until after it is passed.
Okay.
You can go to the city clerk's office after we have voted on the legislation, and it's available. It's also, the website will be up and running March 5th, and the legislation will be available on the website as well. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing was the streets. Okay, so, funny you mentioned that, because we've been talking about that this week. We drove the area, because I know I met with the Resurrection Park Neighborhood Organization on last year, and I know the city manager recently came. And so we drove around the area this week, and we are setting ourselves up to fix those streets. The only concern that we currently have at this time is that the Christian Activity Center, because we wanted to go ahead and do that. And so Ms. Clemens talked with the Christian Activity Center. They're going to be doing some development over there. The concern that we have is that we start fixing the streets now while they're trying to develop. We don't want our streets to be torn up during that process. So what we're doing now is coordinating with the Christian Activity Center. I know Ms. Gerd, city manager, has a couple more conversations to have with them to see how we can coordinate their development along with us fixing those streets, okay? Because we just had this conversation that we're very committed to fixing streets in a particular location so that the citizens can really see what is happening. Because what we've had in the past is that we've had streets being fixed, but they're fixed over here and over there, and it's kind of spread out. So it's hard for citizens to really see the aggregate of everything that's going on. So one of the things that we want to do as much as possible is focus on particular areas and then move on to the next area so that people can see, the work that's actually being done. And then the last thing, as far as the sewer bills, the money comes back to the city, and the money that is paid is used for sewer issues. Okay?
So where does one actually get a running monthly dispersal or?
You can go to the treasurer's office, and
Same
it's
place?
also in our report. You can go to the clerk's office and get what we have as well. Any reports on that? Okay.
All right, other questions?
Yes, my name is Geraldine Brewer, and I live right in the area on 17th and Winstanley. And everybody, I'm pretty sure, know about the Doris Helping Hand building.
Yes.
And it is atrocious. It's just a mess. We have children that are passing by there every day going to school, and it's very dangerous. People are up in there living, whatever they're doing up in there, and they're going to Garden School, and it's very dangerous, so we will appreciate very much if we can do anything about that building, cleaning up around there. Also, we have an address. You said code enforcement. We have an address at 1527 Winstanley that we would love to see this young man clean up his property, because this place was not looking like that when I moved there. I appreciate it.
Tina, do you know who owns the Doris Helping Hand Center? I know it's not us.
No, the property went to his wife when he passed, so it's still in ownership of them, of the family.
Okay, so again, you know, as the city manager talked about, this is the reason why we are building up our code enforcement team, and that will be built up this year, because again, the city has limited resources, and when we're spending our resources cleaning up other people's property, now it's time for us to make sure and enforce them cleaning up their own property. Okay.
All right, do we have any more questions, concerns, thoughts?
Yes, ma'am, Mayor, Anika Jackson, and everyone present. Jesus is the Lord be magnified. Let's start with that. But I was on Facebook Live, and I had a comment from a young lady who was just simply asking, what does it look like in terms of trying to do something with the housing in the area, or do you have any plans in that regard?
Well, that's a very good question, and thank you for that question. One of the things that we've recently done is we've partnered with the Housing Authority, McCormick Barron, and Urban Strategies to apply for a Choice Neighborhood Initiative Planning and Implementation Grant for the Gompers area. We have not received word back on that yet, but that is about development of housing. The idea is to take that area. Right now, you have about 300 units there. If we were to get this, the plan would be to go through a system of planning. We would talk with the residents there, get their ideas, but the idea is to take that area, take 300, make it 900. Why 900? Because we would have a diversified level of incomes living in the area. You would have low income, low to moderate income, and then market rate. Okay, so we have applied. We're waiting to see if we will get that plan. City Manager, are there anything else you want to add to that?
The other thing that we're looking at is how we can expand our home repair program. We do a lot for seniors, but we've talked about looking to see how we can expand to other residents, especially in the qualifying areas that still have some of the TIF dollars going. We're also looking at federal grants and designations to see, one, how we can apply for more funding, bring more development in, and again, hold these owners that own homes accountable as far as boarding up your property. If you're not going to fix it up right away, just doing some safety measures to make sure that the properties around there don't decrease in property. The other thing that we're looking at is seeing what we can do for our property tax, because one of the issues that hurts development as far as new development is that our property tax rate is high. So one of the projects that I'm asking Washington University to help us with is to see how we can work to reduce our property taxes for current residents and future residents, or is there some type of overlay where we can give some type of relief? Because we're competing, the property taxes in the state of Illinois are high. In not just our area, but just the state of Illinois. But when we're competing with O'Fallon and to build new housing, ours is automatically going to be a little higher, unfortunately, to build a new house versus the O'Fallon. It's not fair, but it's something that we're trying to work on to reduce and find a real solution. You know, people talk about it, but no one has ever really looked at the issue of how we can find a solution for our property tax issue.
Okay, next question.
What can be done about that? I mean, just all over the area. It's just.
I'm glad you asked that question. One of my goals this year is to relight East St. Louis. We are talking to Ameren about lighting up the city. We're trying to get a process in place. One, residents can call if there's a light out and there's a pole number. You can call directly to Ameren. But the other thing that I'm working on is actually getting out there and asking churches, residents to actually help us mark where these lights are out. Now the city lights, I am working with Ms. Kirk. I put money in for lighting. That's one of the budget things that I was like, we gotta have some money for lighting. We gotta relight this city. So we just approved the lighting on State Street, because some of the lights are owned by the city, some are not. So I'm trying to get our lights that the city owns repaired and back on. So we've done some on State Street, but the goal is to kind of ride through and know which ones are ours first, because some of them we don't know which ones are ours, but most of the metal ones I'm learning are ours. So I'm trying to fix that problem. It's going to be a tall order, but I just approved to get that done, and we're going to continue to do it throughout the year until we try to get all the lights back on.
Yes, and we have been in meetings. We've met with Ameren a few times about lighting and to make sure we get the lights fixed. So we're working on that. Pastor.
Yes, to piggyback on the Ameren lights, just coincidentally, we just had a light out here that Ameren owns, and First Lady called a few days ago, and they wanted the post number and everything, and they came out, they took care of it, and they put in a new LED light, which is a lot brighter. And I've been told that those wooden posts that Ameren owns, if you get the actual number off of that post, it's a metal sticker on there, and you call it in, they would take care of it on the lighting. But my question was regarding, it was last summer when the HUD, Dr. Carson was here, and he was talking about East St. Louis Housing Authority is going to be given back to the city, and et cetera, et cetera. And we are one of the ones that also had bidded on the Miles Davis School. And I've been told that the East St. Louis Housing Authority, that's going to be their headquarters, and then I was told they're going to tear down the building and turn it into another senior building. And I was just curious on what's the development on that.
Okay. I know the Housing Authority was one of the bidders for that particular piece of property. And the plan there is for them to do senior living there. I don't know if they're going to tear it down, because the last plan that I heard was that they were going to keep it and just do some modifications to the building, and maybe gut it and turn it into some senior living. But that's the plan that they have for that building. Okay, so city manager is saying talk about the receivership, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So this year we're very excited that, well, last year we were able to get our housing authority back under local control. That doesn't mean that the city government controls it. That just means that we have a board, the housing authority, that controls the housing authority now and governs the housing authority. For those of you who don't know, the housing authority had been under HUD's receivership for 32 years, the longest in history, right? But through a lot of work, again, through establishing those relationships with HUD, And with the Housing Authority, we were able to work over months, and it was a lot of work to do that, but we're at that point now, and it has been turned back over to local control, the board over there. So we're very excited about that, and I don't think some of our citizens really understand what that really means, but it's huge, because I can tell you when I came into office that the Housing Authority was on its way to St. Clair County. But, you know, we're just excited that we were able to keep it here in the community.
What procedure you have to go through to get a light moved from a vacant lot to the corner on address 29th and Missouri Avenue is dark, and they put a new pole and a new light in the vacant lot next to it, behind the church over there. They got a new pole, and redoing the whole electrical system in that area, new grid, everything's going in there.
Sure.
But you put a light on the pole on a vacant lot, and I was over there and asked about moving. They said I had to go through the city to have that light moved to 29th on the corner where it's dead and it's blind intersection.
Okay. Ms. Gert, you want to speak to that?
I will meet with,
I will meet with Amarin regarding that. It's on 29th and Missouri Avenue.
Right.
I'll get your phone number. I think I already have it though.
I have your number. It's between the church and 29th Street. You got a new pole with a new light sitting back off the corner. You can't see 29th Street.
Okay. I'll meet with you on that.
Anybody else?
Yes, I'm Arthur Fields, and I was wondering, what is the status of the vacant Clark Junior High School and Lincoln Senior High School?
Okay, so city owns neither one, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have the city manager come up and talk to you about Clark Junior High School and what we've done, because I've been all the way up to Chicago about the Clark Junior High School, but I'll let city manager talk to you about that.
So we've traveled to Chicago and Springfield trying to see if we could get Clark Junior High School torn down. We were told it would probably cost $1 million to tear it down, and the city doesn't own the property. We don't qualify for the super fund, but we are still in talks with the state to see if there's anything that they can do, because it's cost prohibitive for us to try to tear it down.
It's on a cemetery, sitting on top of a cemetery 200 years old.
Yeah, I've read so many papers, so many things. Like, we have tried literally everything in the last 5 months to try to get this built. We had federal EPA come up here, take pictures. I drove them around the building. We did a drone, like, look, is there anything that we can do? And we've been told at this point, no. It doesn't mean that we won't apply for grants to try to get the building down, but the goal, I want to start finding that owner pretty much every other week if I can, to see if we can put pressure on them. But again, it's $1 million. It's hard, as much as I would like to say, yes, we're gonna get it down, it is my goal to try to get it down, but we just gotta find the funding to get that building down. And there are other priorities that we're looking at, like paving the streets. It's, paving the streets that the citizens drive on versus a property that we don't own. So the goal is to try to figure out if we can find some federal funding through the Brownfields grant, since we don't qualify for the super fund. Because there is some asbestos in it, so there's a special way you have to tear the building down. Because if it was my goal, I would just take a bulldozer and try to tear it down, but we can't do that.
Again, I just want to add to what the city manager stated, because that particular property has been an issue for us because of the EPA rules and regulations associated with the building, and because of the asbestos that's been in the building and all of that. And again, we are not the owner. We've been in court with the owner as it relates to that particular property. Okay, but we are going to every state agency that we can to see about assistance in getting the building torn down.
Lincoln High? We need to ask about Lincoln also.
Now, Lincoln is owned by, what, the school district? Yes. Lincoln is owned by School District 189, so it's not something that we own, okay?
My question is, so when you try to attract residents or investors, one of the things they look at is crime. So whether it's factual or perception, what new measures are being implemented to reduce that? And then from a public relations perspective, what's being done to improve the image of East St. Louis?
Sure. So, Chief, do you want to address the issues with how we addressing our safety issues at this point? And then I'm going to come back to that to talk about that a little bit.
There's a lot of different programs that we're looking into right now. Working with Department of Justice on getting cameras throughout the city. Some that would be stationary, some that will be mobile. You can take the different hotspots as they turn up. Also looking at, we got people coming from California this week to do a ShotSpotter presentation where they put sensors around the city, and within 8 seconds they'll know within 8 feet where that shot was fired from. And we get there quicker than we are now. Different things like that we're looking at. We're also set up with the state police. We'll be doing some stuff with them. They're going to bring a group of guys down through the summer. We're working with hitting hot spots on the corners, doing stuff like that. So that's just the start of it. Okay.
And one of the other things that we've done is we're repairing the cameras that the city already has to make sure they're properly working. I put money in the budget for cameras to make sure there was funding so that we can pay for cameras in key high crime areas, streets. The lighting is one. I've put extra money in the budget to make sure that more streets are being paved, and that, you know, my goal is to have continuous cleanup. We've been meeting with Bi-State about the Metro League areas. Any property that they own, we're going to try to work with them to help cut some of that. Some of that property is not owned by Metro, but we're, again, trying to clean up a lot. Every time that we meet with a federal agency, a state or local agency, we're telling a different story. We're actually highlighting a lot of the work that has already been done by nonprofits. We highlight our businesses that are thriving. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we do. We're working with Bi-State, which is being more active in our community. So the new website is not going to look like a depressed community. We're showing that there are a lot of great things about East St. Louis that is often not told. So we are telling our own story, and we're talking about the corporations that are here. The businesses and what we would like to see in the future. So we're actually not just saying this is what we have, but this is what we desire. And I beg. Every time I go somewhere, the mayor will tell you, I'm asking for something. Can you come and help us with this? Is there any funding available? So by the time I leave, you're not going to say you don't know what to do for East St. Louis, because we are asking. And we're getting some good responses. Now we got to hold what people say they're going to do accountable. So.
There's a question over here, and one in the back.
Hello. I'm a junior at East St. Louis Senior High School. I know maybe you can't answer this question, but hopefully some of the school district people are here. I have 18.5 credits as a junior. That's a lot. And I was wondering, why don't we have early graduating programs for Eastside? And why don't we have upgraded books?
That's a really good question for one of our, we got one of our board members back there in the back from School District 189.
Stand up.
Mr. R.C. Clark.
Yeah.
She asked about, go ahead.
I asked, why didn't we have early graduation programs and why don't we have any upgraded books?
You should have best books, money we spent for you guys, you should have best books and best equipment to work with. From my understanding, I've only been there like 2 years, but lately, we've given the kids everything that they needed. So you say you're 11th grade, you're junior,
Yes, sir.
and you don't have that?
No, well, we have books, but in some classrooms, all the students can't get like all, I'm so sorry. We have to share books with other students, like we don't all have a book to ourselves. So it's kind of like, most of our teachers have to go down to the board and get copies of the books, and we can't bring them home and have our own and use them to our own resources. That's why I was asking, why don't we have any, like, why don't we have more books in all the classrooms?
Well, I tell you what, if you don't mind, tomorrow, which is the 20th, the board meeting, the whole board will be there at 6 o'clock. Could you be there with those questions for me? So the board, the superintendent, everybody could answer that. Because that's kind of weird to me. I like to know the answer myself.
Well, I'm a cheerleader and I have a game tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll ask the question for you, find out and get it back to you.
Okay,
All right?
thank
You can
you.
get my name and number and I get yours.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Thank you for your question. We have one here, right here, and then we'll come back to Mr. Young.
I was just wondering if there was a update about the intercept from the police and the fire pensions.
Currently, city manager is shaking her head no. We don't have an update for that. I can tell you that we're preparing, trying to prepare ourselves as much as possible for anything like that that would occur. So there is work going on with that, but we don't have any current updates as of yet. There's a question right here.
I just wanted to, first time I got a chance to meet the new city manager, congratulations. It's really not a question, it's kind of a statement. Congratulations on the Youth Advisory Council. This is the bicentennial year of the state of Illinois. Her question and a lot of the questions, this is a good year to kind of marry what the school district is doing, what the city is trying to do, and what the state government is trying to do. There are a lot of outside people with resources too that do want to help. I've participated with Eastside Line and other opportunities. Ameren's, the mayor hit it well. Ameren's investment in East St. Louis is huge. I'm an infrastructure management specialist. That's huge. I'll get with the city manager on that. But there's a program called ACE, Architectural, Construction, and Engineering. Buildings that have challenges, I'm just gonna say it that way. If you involve your youth advisory council in that ACE program, or get close to that, there are things that companies can come in and do in an educational standpoint that you wouldn't be able to do through grants. It's faster. In other words, take the Clark property. If you got with the owners and they wanted to develop the property, I'm just what-ifing for a second. This ACE program could actually get access to professional services because they're teaching young people how to do this, even to demolish a building, okay? So, and I'll give this information to the city manager, but this is the year where education, city government, state and federal government can work together on projects. Do what you can, but that ACE program in Missouri has worked really, really well, especially on challenging situations. Do what you can as a city, and then when you have gaps, then turn those projects or those opportunities into student educational projects, and a lot of corporations will help. All right?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young, for that input. We appreciate that information. I see Jessica coming
I
up.
was gonna say, if we don't have any more questions, I'll just give a couple announcements.
Okay, I was gonna ask, I see Ms. Riley, then I was gonna ask Mr. Vincent to just come and give just a snippet of some of the things that he has done. And then I'll take Ms. Riley's question as Mr. Vincent is coming forward.
I just have a comment. We always say our policemen, they don't have any policemen on the street. I read an article in the paper about the incident at McDonald's, and I'd just like to congratulate Chief Simon for the great work and the policemen on the street. And it's sorry about the incident that occurred, but just want to say thanks for having policemen on the street.
I just want to briefly touch on Mrs. McClinton. But one of the things that the mayor brought out as she came in is that she had a focus on collaboration. If anybody in St. Louis remember, when it used to flood, we used to have this red mud that would go all the way across Louisiana and would affect some 30 homes. Now here's what collaboration is done. Through the Emergency Management Department, focuses from the mayor, Public Works, and EPA, we had Alcoa to come out and they had to level their ground, build up a forts right behind these 29 houses, and now when it rains, the water goes in the right place and their house is not filled now with the red mud. So what I'm trying to say is collaboration, because of what the mayor has pushed, is a thing that we find now that works the best. So if we can collaborate, and that collaboration work with emergency management, Public Works, City Council and the mayor, and Environmental Protection Agency. So I just wanted to say that because I'm sure that's one of the things that you focus on, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. I just want to round it up by saying and put an emphasis on relationships. Relationships are important, and I talk about this all the time. I talk about it all the time because it's what I believe. And so that's why we spend a lot of time restoring and building relationships on the federal, state, local, public, and private level, and also with our citizens. We're working to do that, okay? Because at this point, what has been done didn't work, right? So we're doing something different. Collaboration is important. Partnering is important. And really sitting on the sidelines, talking about it, but not putting your help in doesn't help either. So what we're doing is, my goal is to facilitate, to bring together, and to encourage us to work together, right? To be the ambassador, to represent, and to do what I can on behalf of my city. So on behalf of my city, I'm encouraging relationships. I'm encouraging neighborhood organizing. I'm encouraging input from the citizens. And we're not afraid of input. We're certainly not afraid of questions, and we encourage it. So at this time, I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to the town hall meeting. We appreciate you taking the time out to do that. You could have been anywhere else, but you came here tonight, and for that, we just want to say thank you. We really appreciate you, and I'm going to turn it over. And Pastor, again, First Lady, Elect Lady, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your hospitality. I got a gift when I walked in the door, and I'm going to enjoy it. Thank you so much.
All right, so who here heard something that they did not know before they walked in the door tonight? Did anyone learn anything new, hear something that they had not heard before? Because that's one of the ways that we evaluate these town hall meetings. We want to make sure that we are informing, we want our residents to be knowledgeable. And I want to say thank you to those who recorded as well, because you're helping to get the word out to people who aren't here today, which is very important. I want to encourage you all to share what you heard today with at least, I was going to say one, but I'm going to say 5 other people who are not here today. Tell your neighbors, spread the word. We want to make sure that we are a knowledgeable community. A couple of things, other things that we can do to get involved. We talked about the Restoration of Hope, the cleanup. So on your way out, if you're interested in learning more about that and how you can be involved, there's a sign-in sheet. On that same sign-in sheet, you can also put a mark next to your name if you're interested in helping out with these town hall meetings. We want to make sure that residents are shaping the agenda and that we're addressing the needs and things that residents want to hear. So you can be a part of that. Again, reminder about the unsung heroes. You can get more information about that from Darius. There was a third thing that's on that sign-in sheet. Town halls, restoration of hope, neighborhood organizing. So the mayor talked about getting involved in your neighborhood. That's one of the ways that we hear about what's going on in the city, about the streets, certain lots. We listen to the leaders of these neighborhood organizations. So that's another way to have a voice in the community. So those are just 3 ways that I encourage you to get involved. Again, I hope you heard something that you did not know before today. We have the local access station recording today, so this should be playing on the local channel. Do you know when it will air, Mr. Duncan?
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday about 6.
Wednesday about 6 o'clock, so if anyone wasn't here today, they can watch this again at the local station.
I wanted to make one more announcement. In April for the town hall meeting, our goal is to have the federal EPA come out. So if there's questions about environmental issues, water, they're gonna come out, hopefully. We tentatively confirm that they'll be here for our April town hall meeting, and this is a good time to, one, get information about what residents can do, but also ask questions about Clark Junior High and different funding opportunities.